Hi everybody, this is lesson 11, angle problems and solving equations. So we are on page 85 and our essential question is, how can we use angle relationships to write and solve equations? Okay, actually none of this is going to feel like brand new information. A lot of this is going to be just like what we've been doing, just some more practice with it because once you get the hang of it, these aren't too bad, but the problem is they can be tricky to see the relationship because there are several different relationships such as vertical angles, we've got angles on a line, 90-degree angles, angles around a point, which are 360 degrees. So for each one of these, we kind of have to look and see which one of those properties or angle relationships we're going to be using. So in part A, we're going to describe the angle relationship in the diagram. From now on, we are just going to write an equation for it. And for each of these, it says confirm your answers with measuring the angle with a protractor. And you don't actually have to do that. You can if you'd like, but you do not have to do it. So the goal here, which we're going to keep this simple, is to write an equation based on the information and then to solve it. Answer what the question's asking. So for this one, underline where it says write an equation for the angle relationship shown in the figure and solve for x. Make sure that you're doing the things that I'm doing. Sometimes when I go to help kids the next day in class, I see that they haven't been underlining, they don't have the volume up, things like that. So of course, if you don't have the volume up, you don't hear what I'm saying right now. But if you do have the volume up, please make sure that you're writing these things in the margin, underlining and paying attention as you go. Anytime that you want to pause and try these on your own, go for it because you actually know how to do all of these. You've learned this, you've been able to ask questions on this. So anytime you want to try it, pause it, and then you can even skip forward to see if you got it right. Okay, for opening exercise A, we see that this is x degrees. We see that this is 14 degrees. We also see that this one has the little box making this 90 degrees. If you're paying attention, these three angles make what is a straight line. Therefore, x degrees plus 90 degrees plus 14 degrees equals 180 degrees. That's because they make a straight line. So if you need to write that, these three angles make a straight line. Okay, that would be the complete sentence part, so you should still do that if you're not able to come up with the equation on your own. Okay, we're going to combine like terms now, and that would be the numbers, 90 degrees and 14 degrees. Okay, the x is on its own. There is no other x term. So I leave the x, I combine 90 and 14, and I get 104 degrees. And when I add those, I get 180. So something plus 104 equals 180. That's just a one-step equation. So go ahead and solve that by subtracting 104 on both sides. And we get our final answer of 76 degrees. Okay, go ahead and plug that back in to make sure. So 76 plus 90 plus 14 should all equal 180. Okay, we're going to go a little faster. Like I said, pause it, rewind it if you need to. For B, it says lines C, D, and EF are intersecting lines. Underline that and then trace over CD and EF. That means that anything opposite of each other on those two intersecting lines is equal, okay, or congruent. So 147 is equal to the Y here and the 51 together, since those two make this vertical angle to 147. So that means if I add them together, I'll get 147 degrees. Okay, so go ahead and first of all, write vertical angles, because this will help you. A lot of times, like if I say vertical angles and you don't remember what it is, you can go back through your notes and find an example. So when it comes to vertical angles, we're going to trace over those lines and see what is equivalent. Okay, to solve it, we're going to subtract 51 degrees from both sides, and we're left with 96 degrees for Y. Okay, for opening exercise part C, we don't really see the straight lines intersecting, they kind of all come out of this one point. But I do see that going around, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 angles, and they actually give me all of them except for B. How do I know what this one is? It's 90 degrees. Whenever you see that, please write in 90 degrees. It's going to make a lot more sense the more that you have your diagrams filled in. Okay, so this is angles on a point. I know the directions say in a complete sentence, but it's okay. Describe the relationship in the diagram. It's okay to say angles on a point, and now you see that those angles all will make 360 degrees. So the number sentence looks like this. Let's start with the 90 and work our way around. 90 plus 65 plus B plus 41 plus 59. Hopefully you didn't run out of room like I did. Equals 360 degrees. Okay, and that's like this. The 90 plus the 65 plus the B plus the 41 plus the 59 all together takes me back where I started. That's 360 degrees. So the like terms are all these number terms. Okay, make sure you keep the sign that's in front of the number. And then I also have just the B. Sorry, I hope that doesn't look like a 6. Okay, the B right there. So the B is on its own. Let's actually just put that there first. Now, when you add all those numbers up, what do you get? All those green numbers. You get 255 degrees. Those are like terms. So something plus 255 gives me 360 degrees. And now I simply subtract 255 from both sides. And the missing angle is 105. So B equals 105. Okay, so always go to where the question is so you know what you're finding. Okay, go to page 86 and we're going to do D now. Intersecting lines. 3 lines are intersecting at a point. A lot of times, like when you look at this, you might say like, okay, if I go all the way around, that will give me 360 degrees. However, we're missing quite a bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to highlight the things that we do know. So we know that this one is 158, and I can also see these 2 lines that I've highlighted. Do you see the 2 lines that intersect? That means that this side over here is also 158 degrees. Okay, I'm going to try to clean that up a little bit so it's not so messy. Here's the one line, here's the other line, and this is 158. Okay, then I can see that there's more intersecting lines. So now I see that, sorry, I don't want this to get too messy, but I really do want you to see the visual of the lines. So now when I get over here, I can see that the Z is made from this line and this line. So you can always erase and trace over it again. So that means that if this one is Z, then this one can also be called Z. And likewise, sorry, I'm going to erase one last time. And this is Z. Now if I go here and here, then this is also congruent to Z. So I just proved using vertical angles. So this one is actually going to use vertical angles. Oh, it'd help if I spelled it right. And now that we know and we figured out all the vertical angles, now we can do angles on a point. Now we know that going all the way around the 158, the Z, the other 158, another Z, another Z. So all those going around the point equal 360. Okay, again, I'm going to clean this up. Z, 158, Z. Go back and watch if you have to understand again how we figured out that those were Z and 158. So we have a Z, another Z, a 158, another Z, another Z, and a 158. If you're thinking about it as you write it, it's going to help you combine like terms. Because I said we have a Z, and then we have another Z, and then we have 2 more Z's over here. So how many Z's is that all together? that would be 4z. And then we have a positive 158 and another positive 158. And that, if you add those two together, they're both positive, so it's going to be always positive. You want to try this on your own. 316. Okay, and it's still equal to 360 degrees. Well, that's kind of interesting because 316 isn't that far away from 360. So there's not going to be a whole lot left when we get to the z's. All right, subtract 316 from both sides, and we get 4z equals 44, which is nice because I know it goes in evenly. And if I want to get z by itself, I divide by 4, and each z is 11 degrees. Okay, so there's your equation, and then of course we know how to simplify using like terms, and then we solve and we get z equals 11. Again, you can always double check it. If you plug in 11, 11, 158, 11, 11, 158, you can double check that that equals 360. Okay, the last one in the opening exercises is E, and I see that I have x, I see that I have 90, and I see that I have 5x. I also see that those three make a straight line. So if x, 90, and 5x make a straight line, then they all equal 180. And then we know that we can combine the x terms, so positive x and positive 5x is positive 6x. And then the number is on its own, so I just do plus 90. Okay? And now that still equals 180, and then go ahead and solve it, pause it, and try it, because this is just a two-step equation. And 6x is 90 degrees, which means that when I divide by 6, I get 15 degrees. However, if you read carefully, it says write an equation for the angle relationship shown in the figure and solve for x. Then it says find the measurements of EPB, which is this x right here, and the measure of CPA, which is right here. So we already know that x is 15 degrees, but we don't know what 5x is. So we could just plug 15 in for 5x, and we get 75 degrees. So those are the two angle measures. And again, you could plug those all in. Those three should equal 180, so you can verify that they do. Okay, we still do have 3 more examples right now. So we're going to do example 1, and then you'll be doing exercise 1 in class. Okay, these 3 go around a point, and they're intersecting lines. So this makes me think vertical, and then at a point makes me think of the whole 360. So this one actually has 2 parts. Anytime that you have a problem and you're thinking, okay, I don't know what to do. You know, like you're looking at these angle problems and you're thinking, okay, well, I can follow what Mrs. Kamek is doing, but I don't know if I could look at it and say, oh yeah, this is this angle, this is this many degrees because of that. What you got to do is you have to kind of fill in everything that you possibly can. That's at least the method that I go with. So if I see that this angle right here is 68 degrees, I also want to fill in this one as 68 degrees because those are vertical. Then I also see that in green here that these 2 lines make an 86 degree angle, so over here would be 86 degrees. Okay, again, I'm going to clean it up just so that it's not so messy. So this is 68 and this was 86 because they're vertical. And then hopefully you've already kind of guessed what the last missing one is. It's vertical to x. So we're going to call that one x degrees. Now I can go around a point. Okay, now I can go around a point and say, all right, 86 plus x plus 68. Okay, so we've done this one, this one, this one, plus 86 plus x plus 68. So do you see how we went all the way around? And that equals 360. Okay, now go ahead and combine your like terms. So you've got all these numbers. And as you know, you're supposed to include the sign in front, which these are all positive, so it's pretty nice. And then we also have an x here and an x here. We'll do that in a different color. Okay, so our equation is 2x. And then if you add all those numbers up, you will get 308. So 2x plus 308 equals 360. Now it's an easy two-step equation. Subtract 308, and you get 2x equals 52. Divide both sides by 2, and x is 26. If you can see something, I just want to show you that's not the only way to solve it. That's not the only way to solve it. If you can see that this is x because of vertical angles, there's one other way you can do this, in which you can see here that this is a straight line, and you can actually do 86 plus x plus 68 equals 180, and now it's actually a little bit of a shorter problem. So it'll still get you 26. So if you're curious, go ahead and try it and make sure that it does equal 26. Okay, so that's the neat thing about lines, is sometimes there's more than one way to do that. Okay, exercise 1 will be done in class. So like I said in the previous video, go ahead and actually write that, and then you'll know what you'll be completing in class. Okay, for exercise 2, we've got quite a few intersecting lines. It looks like they go on points. There's a lot of different things to do here. So what we're going to do is just kind of try to fill in the pieces like I said in the last example. I can see that this is x, so that would make this x. Okay, I can see the little boxes, so I know that this is 90. And I can see that this one is 90. This is where a lot of kids get stuck and they think like, okay, well now what? Now what do I do? There's a couple things. If first of all, you want to run through the things. You want to think like, okay, is there a straight line? Is there, on a point? Which these are on a point, but there's too much missing right now to be able to do that. We want to do vertical angles, and we want to look at right angles. Okay, so we're trying to see what else we can do or what else we can figure out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to erase this so that way it's a little cleaner. Okay, so this is 90, 90, and x. I can see that this straight line right here is made up of x, 90, and 77. Okay, so that means that x plus 90 plus 77 equals a straight line, which is 180 degrees. Okay, so now you can actually go ahead and solve that. So really that one wasn't too bad, but I just want to show you that you might have to think of some different relationships to try to come up with the best way to figure it out. Okay, and then when I combine those, I get 167. So x plus 167 equals 180. And then I can subtract 167 from both sides. And x is just a tiny little 13 degrees. Okay, and you can plug that in here. You can write it in here. So the question may have gone further and asked some other things, so it's good to just keep going with as much as you can to try to figure out, either vertical lines or, like I said, straight lines around a point, things like that. Okay, we're actually going to be completing the rest of these in class. So where it says exercise 2, go ahead and write in class. Where it says example 3, write in class. And this would be angles on a point. And then give yourself a little hint. That means 360 degrees. Okay, exercise 3 we're going to do in class. And then the good news is we're actually not doing anything else except the summary. Okay, so you can actually cross out example 4. And then you can do the summary in class or on your own time. And that is it for lesson 11.